We like superhero movies because they're so easy to understand and they are entertaining and they keep us engaged. But for how long do they keep us engaged? That is a real question. And if you think about that new movie, Joker, it pushes us out of the trance of well-being. It gives us a new perspective about life or about the movie industry. Really a new perspective? Well, it's something to explore. But tonight we're going to talk about the new movie Joker because it's something people talk about and it's in the public. A lot of people watched it, discuss about it, and it's an amazing movie, My World. Now, some people say it promotes violence. Some people say it's a mirror of our society. Some people say it's about a super villain and it might encourage people to really freak out. Now today I'm in a very different environment because I'm at home and my cat is here as well and maybe she's participating as well. But who am I actually that you are listening to right now? Well, my name is Andreas Dorn. I'm a certified NLP trainer living and working here in Malaysia, in beautiful Malaysia. And our certification courses, we help people to create the life they want to have, they deserve to have, and it helps them design the life they want to have. And also, of course, I'm a master trainer of hypnosis. But tonight, yay, we are going to talk about the movie Joker, The Road to Violence, a review of the movie. Not quite a review of the movie, of course, but it's about talking about the movie. So as we get started, of course, hey, well, let me roll the ads and then we keep talking about the movie. All right, get started. Okay, you know the game, of course. Hey, introduce yourself, ask your questions, comment, participate in this movie. It's a controversial, in this movie, in this video, it's a controversial video that movie that we are talking about tonight. I've got my app here on, of course, my Facebook. So I'm apparently the only one watching. Feel free to participate so that I can ask the question. Of course, I'm curious about, please, hey, there you see my cat running around in the back. Oh, she's not jumping on me. She wants to participate. So say hello. Her name is Jazz. She's a beautiful cat with us for 2 years. And she's the first time here in Facebook Live with me. And let's see how often she gets into the camera. I'm at home at myself right now. Not sure I'm still in the office. All the equipment, everything here is very, very fragile. I gotta watch out that my cat is not stepping onto the camera. If something drops down, I rearrange everything. You know something really went wrong because right now she's very, very close to the camera. I have to watch that out, but never. No, you cannot go there, please. All right? I have to watch out. It's really, really, really funny. Okay. Well, again, please let me know in the comments of who you are, who is watching. I'm watching my cat hanging around there. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from. Say, of course, what. Tell me as well, have you watched the movie The Joker already or not? Because I would be curious to know if you watched it already. And as we get started, well, let's hear it loud. Okay, introducing the Joker. I gotta put this picture around as well, of course, because I'm in a different place, as I mentioned. And I don't know who of you has watched that video. It's an awesome video, I think. And I'm not giving too much away here off the movie, but it must be a little bit of a quick recap, of course, what really goes on as we are talking about the road to violence and taking the Joker as an example overall. So here we got the guy Joaquin Phoenix, I'm not sure if I pronounce his name correctly. He's playing Arthur Fleck. And he's somewhat, hey James, good to see you, F5, yay. Arthur is playing, well, is depicted as a loser in the video, losing a lot in Gotham City, playing somewhat in the 1980s, and he's a former patient in a psychiatry, but released from the psychiatry to live with his mother. And he has a neurological condition that sometimes along anywhere where he is, but as I realize, especially when he's under stress, he starts to laugh, a screeching laughter. And that laughter feels really painful sometimes. And you can see how this laughter hurts him sometimes because it comes in the most inappropriate situations when he laughs, when he's nervous, when he's at that point of time when he needs to be calm, when he needs to be relaxed, but the nervousness comes up. He starts to laugh as well. And his dream is to become a comedian. His dream is a comedian. But all he gets is becoming a clown on the street, where he's holding up a signboard of a shop which is closing down, and it's the last sale for this shop. And what happens really is, hey James, you watched it. Did you like it actually, you know? I love that movie. Tell me if you watched it, and tell me if you liked it, because it's a very controversial video. So as Arthur is standing there, of course, something happens. He gets beaten up by a couple of youngsters, and they're beating him up, and he gets beaten up another time somewhere in the underground. And by chance, then he gets a gun from one of his former colleagues, and he gets a gun. And as suddenly he's shooting the first person, he's murdering the first person. And there is happening the first transformation of him is actually happening in that movie. That initially he's really frightened and shocked and nervous. But then he goes to the bathroom of the underground station, and you can start to see the transformation in him coming up, and he is expressing the transformation in dancing. And you can see, and I'm coming to the dance in a moment, what it actually means to him, how he's transforming. Now along that line, of course, the mayor to be elected, or so the mayor-elect, or the mayor to be elected, he calls the poor people of Gotham losers and clowns, and that causes a movement in the city, of clowns wearing a clown's mask, protesting and rioting. And that is kind of the similarity when Arthur is becoming the clown, the murderous clown, so to speak. And he starts to identify with the movement starts to identify with him as the loser overall. Now some people say there are similarities. You see how Arthur is starting to melt down. How every time something positive might happen, he starts to hit back. Something hits him again. He loses his job. He loses his girlfriend, so to speak, and it's hitting him. Every time he's raising up, something positive seems to happen. He's pushed down again, and you can say maybe he's starting to blame society overall. But what I liked very much in this movie, you know, is how he starts to transform. So to me personally, now hopefully you maybe agree with it or not. It's not a thriller. It's not a horror movie. It's not a documentary, of course. It's not a comedy, for sure not. It's a character study of how this Arthur is melting down from kind of a guy who is trying to make it in society, breaking down and becomes somebody else, drifting into violence overall. It's not the first time a movie is showing that. And one good example on my side here, of course, is that I love very much is Jack Nicholson in the movie The Shining, long time back. A movie, the director was Stanley Kubrick. Stanley in The Shining, and Jack Nicholson playing Jack Nicholson. I think I'm hopefully get the name straight right now. It was an awesome movie. Some people online say as well that even Joker resembled a taxi driver playing in the 1990s. I loved this movie. And I liked how the Joker then transforms, Arthur is transforming into the criminal, into the terrorist, into the violent guy. And I loved it because it shows how he's getting pushed into something very, very bad, very, very negative. And the point of transformation really happens is after the first murders in the subway, how he's going into the toilet of the subway, starts initially shocked, but starts dancing. Dancing to him is like the transformation to find that state within himself. And he finds out, and maybe those of you who are watching it and know about it, he finds his physical, his power stance. We are talking so often about in NLP. Many people talk about the power of stance in a positive manner. If you are going out, for example, and take pictures, photos for a website or something, people say often you gotta find your power stance, the stance that shows how powerful you actually are. For Arthur, it's a power of movement when he's dancing around. And he becomes the evil person along that line, and you can see that transformation in his eyes, But we are all talking about evil, He's not a superhero, or he becomes a superhero on the negative side, on the negative side. And the point is, the light is shining onto us because, hey, there's no real Superman in this movie. There's no superpower. Maybe there's a negative superpower, a super villain coming up there. But there's nobody like in the normal movies. What we are seeing is sometimes a good guy is emerging, and it's not happening here. Just like it's happening in the real world right now. We are thinking about so much negativity is happening in the world. So much bad stuff is happening, and we don't know where the good forces are anymore, the forces of lights, which throws the question actually out, who is deciding who is bad and who is good? Because in this movie, Joker, Arthur is ultimately celebrated as a hero along that line by the rebels against the super rich, so to speak. So who is to decide who is bad and who is good? Where do you draw the lines of good and bad overall, Because not everybody sees people who are described as evil as being evil. Some people might support those evil people, and we are seeing as evil people. So it's really a fine line, Of course, if somebody is descending into violence, maybe that's an evil character. But who decides again where to draw the line? Because in certain society, maybe violence is seen as positive, as survivalism, as survival characteristics. So who says what is evil, what is not evil? Who defines this overall, of course? That's very, very important to recognize. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining in overall, okay? But the main part also is, and that's where I want to go, I don't want to discuss too much about the situation, who is evil and who is good, who decides who is evil, who decides who is good, and where to draw the line between evil and being good. But we can see in that video, Joker, how somebody is coming up and this poor person ultimately totally loses it, The person loses it. In this movie, of course, we see how Arthur is descending into crime, which not everybody should go into crime, of course, or it's a bad thing, of course. I'm not defending crime, But hey, we have to think about, how many in that movie, how many times do you hear Arthur shouting out for help? But society doesn't listen. And think about in real life right now. How many people do you know who are shouting for help, be it via social media, be it in conversation, be it with social workers, talking to doctors, and they need help? So see, Arthur is talking, for example, to that social worker, and he insists, he says to her, you don't listen to me. Hey, Purnima, Arthur is talking to that social worker and he says, you don't listen to me. You ask me the same questions every single week, all the time. And to quote here, he says, you don't listen, do you? I don't think you ever really listen to me. You just ask the same questions every single week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? And he answers to her, all I have are negative thoughts. Now, how many people do you know who say to yourself, I have negative thoughts, I can't get rid of them? And they're shouting out, they're screaming out for help. And then we have the quote by Arthur as well, which I thought is very significant. He writes it in his diary. He said, like, the worst part of having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't have it. Now, I'm discarding now the part of mental illness because Arthur is sick. He was abused as a child. He needs help. He needs the help, of course, you know, in NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis. I don't dare to say that these methodologies can actually help a person. I don't dare to say that. I can't say this. So mental illness is not my field. It's not our field overall. So I'm not talking about it. And Nacho was saying that this movie actually is a movie about a guy who has a mental illness and descends into violence, nothing else, into crime. But so I want to discard that notion of mental illness right now again and say, how many people do we know actually who are shouting out for help, shouting out for help, yeah, for assistance, for something to get over, to help them get out of their problems overall. And as Sean is right now saying, it's because society pre-charges. Yes, if you are shouting out for help, what do people say? And I thought about it a long time. What do they say? They simply tell you, get over it. They're telling you to get over it. Hey, be a man. Be a man. Don't cry. Be strong. Think positive. Does it really work if you are in this problem state, emotion, negative, strong anger, strong rage, extreme fear, deeply depressed, extreme sadness, traumatic, whatever, you have been abused, maybe emotionally, you are bullied at school, you are bullied at work, not necessarily only physical, but emotionally, and you are shouting out for help. People don't take you seriously, and that is sad. I remember that girl which was recently very much in the news. She jumped from a building because she was so frustrated, so depressed, and she put out a vote online and Instagram if she should kill herself or if she should live on, and people voted on her life and said die. They voted her to jump from a building and she killed herself. How much more drastic can you go in life that you don't help that person, but you are taking it as a game, as a social media stunt? What is going on overall, people? You know, it's not about getting over it. It's about reaching out to these people and help them. Because not everybody, thank God for that, is descending into violence and crime, but so many people actually suffer in silence, suffer because they can't step out, they can't get out, they can't talk to people, or they talk to people and those people just push them down and say, get over it, be strong, think positive. It does not always work. Even I'm one of the people who are saying it's the easiest way to do, because I do know how to manage my mind, but many people haven't learned about how to manage their mind, and they don't know how to make the changes in their life. And ultimately these people shut down and they build up that negative emotions within themselves, and ultimately they're exploding them. So the Joker discovers himself after the first murders. But really the big question is, can we help people to actually get better? And that's what it is actually all about, isn't it? How do we help people to get better? So my invitation really goes out to those to learn how do we teach people to stand up for themselves? How do we teach people to communicate differently? How do we teach people to be more assertive, to manage violence at home? How do we help people to develop their own personal boundaries, to be able to be, to ultimately be able to be strong overall? Hey, Chris, good to see you as well. To be able to be strong overall. That's what it is all about. Nobody teaches us. Mental diseases, problems, emotional problems are still discarded, still seen as not important overall in society. People slowly wake up. There were articles around in Singapore as well as here in Malaysia, and I believe as well here where I am from in Germany, articles are coming up defining mental illnesses, and the numbers is huge overall, way too huge. But please, when you hear people, that's a calling out for help from my side. Please, if you hear people shouting out for help, wanting to get assistance, don't know where to go overall, it means you have to reach out to help them to get somewhere, help them to get ready to find themselves, to get over their problems, lend them an open ear. Sometimes it's really enough to simply talk only. Hey, my cat is back. Maybe you can see her. I think she's coming back. Hey, that's my cat. Yeah, you can see her as well, okay? She helps me a lot. She's an awesome cat, okay? And we helped her as a street cat, eh? We helped her, and one day my son Nabil found her under the stairs of a place where we do yoga. And she was so tiny still, and we brought her home, and since then she is with us. Now she's climbing close to the camera again, and I'm worried here. Okay, what did Sean say? Let me just read out what happened here. Just because the person don't show or tell their problems, they don't have them. Doesn't mean they don't have them. Hey, my cat gets close to the camera. It's really, really possible that I'm disappearing in a moment, you know? So what I want to share with you, hey, if you know people who are needing to learn NLP, needing to learn how to manage their mind, it is the most important step for them to come out first and talk. And to me, overall, an NLP training, to me, coaching session, a therapy session is oftentimes, very often important for them to at least get the first step to get help. Because in our training, we help people to discover themselves. So please, if you know anybody who needs help, I would be more than happy if you can help people to ask them. Send an email to me, andreas.dorn@gmail.com, because hey, my call goes out here right now. It is important to talk. It is important to seek help. I'm alone with my wife. I know many other therapists. I would be able to, well, yeah, give therapy, give coaching, help people do, yeah, meow, give people maybe a shoulder, not a shoulder to cry on, but an outlet to get them over some problems. And of course, along that line, hey, it's always to me to say it is important to develop yourself. It's time to always upgrade yourself. Our next NLP practitioner is coming up soon. So if you know anybody who needs to learn NLP, who needs to get better in their life, please send them an email, ask them to come to us here in Asia Mind Dynamics, because that is our job overall, where I help these people to get to a different planet altogether. If you like this video, it would be awesome if you could share this video, like this video. You can watch that replay here on Facebook tomorrow. Feel free to ask questions. Send me a personal message via Facebook Messenger. Check my my YouTube videos along that line, and I will see you when I see you next week. I'm not sure if I have a Facebook Live because I'm not in KL, but I'm in a hotel somewhere. Most likely I do a quick Facebook Live along that week. Anyway, and I see you when I see you. Create your life. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.